time for us now to talk about the losing finalists in season 1 and season 2. It is, of course, the Delhi Capitals, a side that have always been very solid on paper. मतलब काफी मजा आया उनको देखने में, but unfortunately haven't really replicated those performances at the biggest stage, the WPL final, and they will be reeling from that. They now would want to ensure that they get in a trophy and just bury the ghosts of season 1 and season 2. Let's jump of course straight away to the playing 11. I'll start off with mine for a change. There we go. In terms of how my 11 looks like, Meg Lanning, the skipper, opens with Shefali Verma. I've gone ahead with Nandini Kashyap as my number 3 option. A name I think we will hear a fair bit of in the future. We've seen Uma Chetri do well. Not do well, play for Team India. I think Nandini Kashyap is also not too far away from an India cap. Jemmy at number 4, her regular position for Delhi Capitals. Marizan, Annabelle, Jess, Menu Mani, again, same position as last year. Radha Yadav, Shikha Pandey, Arundhati Reddy. Practically all of them pick themselves. This also means that yet again, Tita Sadhu will not see, herself being a part of the 11. It is a tad bit unfortunate. She's a regular for Team India, but she doesn't play a lot in the WPL. That's essentially how these franchise leagues work. So hopefully she is fit and ready when she joins RCB come the next mega auction. But till then, she will have to wait and bide her time because Shikha Pandey, Arundhati Reddy, Annabelle Sutherland, Marizan Kaab, there's just too many options over there. So you just can't skip over that. But that is how my 11 is looking like. A very settled 11, not too many changes, just the one from last season. At the auction as well, they were fairly silent. They just placed a few bids for Prema Rawat. They were the losing bidders for her when RCB purchased her for 1.1. They were the losing bidders at 1. Barring that, they did not really bid extremely highly for anyone. Nandini Kashyap being one of the names to watch out for, and they got her at her base price, which was a steal in all our eyes. But coming to Neha's 11 though, Neha has a different thought when it comes to their 11. Neha, kyun bhai?
Arey nahi, Akshay. I think it's not very different from yours. I think I had Sarah Bryce come in place of Nandini Kashyap. But again, I think my playing 11 is very similar to yours. Nandini Kashyap for me again is still kind of untested at the highest level. Have seen her do wonders at the domestic level. Was as recently selected for the Indian team as well. Unfortunately, didn't get to make a mark there. But then again, I've tried to keep my Delhi Capitals playing 11 very similar. And kind of retain that core from the last season. I brought in Sarah Bryce there because is a much better keeper. We've seen her do wonders for Scotland. Adds a little bit of value there with the bat as well, as opposed to last season where we saw Tanya Bhatia literally just not being utilized at all, or coming in at 8 and everything, which is probably not the most ideal thing. But then. Again, for me, it looks like a very settled Delhi Capitals playing 11. Hopefully, this time around, they can go the extra mile and lay their hands in the trophy. Even Meg Lanning, right? She doesn't have the pressures and all of that of international cricket. So, we'll see a fresh Meg Lanning come here. Some of her performances in the WNCL have been really good. So, she would definitely be raring to go and ensure that Delhi can eventually go the extra mile. And Shefali Verma too, right? Her domestic season has been stellar. So hoping, she can also make a mark for herself. And I think just bringing in this discourse and going on a little bit of a tangent here, Pratika Raval doesn't find herself in any WPL team. So if Shefali Verma ends up having this sort of a bumper WPL, it might give the selectors some reason to, kind of consider her, at least in the T20 side of things, and eventually that home World Cup as well. And even with Marizan Cup, is a stellar all-rounder. Hasn't had the greatest of the months when we look at her performances of the last part of 2024 as opposed to her performances from 2021 to 2023. So hopefully she can come in good as well. And with Jemima Rodriguez and Annabelle Sutherland, they offer a lot to that batting lineup as well. Hopefully they can get in those runs. And with Minu Mani as well, right? We've seen her excel as a fielder, quality which has kind of eluded the senior women's Indian team. But hopefully, she can also contribute with the bat and ball. Jess Jonathan too, man. After all the Australia snubs, I think will be raring to go and make a mark here. I think we can just literally call her a globe-trotting T20 cricketer at this point. And even with Arundhati Reddy, a lot for her to also kind of prove and just remind and shake the selectors and be like, hey, I'm still here. I can kind of do my thing. Radha Yadav. I mean, you can just see, right? Delhi Capitals literally has batting till the end, and Shika Pandey too, another brilliant addition to the side. Exactly, as we have been talking about, Delhi Capitals score remains the same, and hopefully they can just kind of extend that sort of a dominance and go all the way. So yeah, I mean that, at least that's my thoughts on this playing 11, and let's see how they kind of fare in this season.
I mean, yeah, it is the same for most parts, like you said. Just the one change, Nandini Kashyap is who I've gone for as their designated keeper. Sarah Bryce is who you've gone for as their designated keeper. Either ways, I think they have an upgrade ready, and I'm happy to see that, because first two seasons it was like they were playing with 10 players and a wicket keeper, and that was a tad bit unfortunate, because I feel अगर थोड़ा सा भी ज़्यादा value, batting value उनके keeper से मिल जाता, they would have crossed the line in at least one of the two seasons, if not both. So good to see that they have been able to rectify that this time around. Speaking about the SWOT though, वो देखने थोड़ा क्या लगता है. Neha, thoughts on the strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the strengths, one of the things that Delhi will be really, really happy about is the fact that they have a settled core. I think the very fact that our playing 11 hasn't changed a lot from the last season goes on to show, right? They really trust their players to kind of deliver and do their job. So, settled core is something that will really keep them also, confident and have some belief in their abilities as they head into this season as well. And enviable batting depth. I think this absolutely goes without saying. I think both of our playing 11s had batting at least up to 7 or 8, which is something not a lot of teams can really boast of. I think Delhi would still, kind of factor in all of the times they've had this collapses or they've not been able to cross the line. But they're anomalies. They're not something that happens all the time. Delhi still has the credit of, always topping the table and, marking their attendance in that finals and being the first team to always qualify, right? So that enviable batting depth really holds them in good stead. And just looking at that bowling attack as well, it's just so well rounded, right? I mean, you have the likes of Shrika Pandey, uh, Radha Yadav, Arundhati Reddy, Minu Mani. These are bowlers who will deliver on every single day. And then you also have the likes of Marizan Kaap, Annabelle Sutherland, who can contribute with the ball. And Shefali Verma too, man, can give you a few overs here and there with Minu Mani. So it just gives them so many options to experiment with. So I think that is something which would, again, keep them a very confident unit and above other teams as well. So having that sort of, bowling attack is, again, very enviable, and not a lot of teams can actually boast of that. But also factoring in the weaknesses, right? One of the things definitely has to be the fragile lower middle order. As much as we say, itne zyada batting options hai, batting depth hai, but then if they end up losing those wickets up front, say the likes of Meg Lanning, Shefali Verma, Marzan Kaap and Jemima Rodriguez, a lot of pressure will fall on that lower middle order to kind of bail them out of trouble. I think they may not find themselves in a lot of situations where the lower middle order will have to come to the party, but in those tight matches, pressure situations, if they find themselves in that situations, can the likes of Annabelle Sutherland, Sarah Bryce, and Minu Mani kind of do the job is something which will really have to be tested. And I think one of the weaknesses that we've also kind of collectively come up with is the lack of spin options. I know Radha Yadav has done really well. We can give her credits for her T20 bowling credentials and everything. But say she has a lean day, and even Jess Jonathan can't really contribute. Who are the other spin options you're looking at? Will Shefali Verma contribute a little? And that becomes a little bit of a concern. Even Minu Mani, right? Like I think we rate her more for her batting abilities as opposed to her bowling ability. So that spin, side of things gets a tad bit concerning, and we'll have to see, how they kind of navigate those waters. So yeah, I think these were about the weaknesses that I would like to focus on. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of very interesting points there, especially the fact that they have such a settled core, something we've been discussing even while talking about their 11. मतलब most names pick themselves. The only change arguably being the fact कि keeper आ गया, बस वही था और कुछ था नहीं वहाँ पे discuss करने के लिए. But I agree with you there on most fronts. Talking about some of their opportunities though, like we've been raving about, Tanya Bhatia will most likely not have to feature for them, and that in itself is an opportunity that they'll be hoping to explore. Again, no disrespect to her, she's a fantastic keeper, but as a batter, she was batting at number 11. When was the last time you saw a keeper batting at number 11? एक बार उनको मौका मिला when she had to score one run, just one run. एक ही run चाहिए था. And she somehow, unfortunately, managed to bottle that up. So, which means we can see why Delhi Capitals are trying to look past her. And then Nandini Kashyap and Sarah Bryce, they've got two fantastic options. I know a couple of you have already spoken about how you would prefer Sarah Bryce over Nandini Kashyap, including Neha herself. My only reason with Nandini Kashyap being some of her numbers in the Challenger Trophy, that T20 Challenger Trophy, against the likes of Renuka Singh Thakur, Kranti Gaur, Arundhati Reddy, she's come good. That speaks volumes about the kind of talent we're talking about over there. She scored at a strike rate in excess of 140, at an average in excess of 30. So, hey, बहुत ज़्यादा potential hai, which is why I think she should start for them. Sarah Bryce, on the other hand, again, T20 numbers देख लो, 105, 106. I know unka recent WBBL utna bura nahi tha from a strike rate perspective. She ended it at a strike rate of 125-ish. But again, average is just 20-21. At number 3, you would expect your batters to last a lot more longer. You're not a finisher. You are someone who needs to face at least 20 to 30 deliveries. Given that, and given the fact that this is happening in India, a place where Nandini Kashyap has played all her life and a place where Sarah Bryce is yet to play, so I think that also would probably give an edge to Nandini Kashyap over someone like a Sarah Bryce. But it's understandable if they go ahead with the latter. I'm not complaining. As long as they choose one of them ahead of Tanya Bhatia, I think they will be in good stead. Speaking of opportunities, though, another name that we will be keeping a keen eye on will be Shefali Verma, a name that that's been making the rounds in the last couple of months. Given that she's not featured in the West Indies series or the Ireland series, it means that they will. Shefali Verma will want to come good over here to ensure that she will be a part of the World Cup. Nahi to, matlab, it pretty much closes, the gates on that, because iske baad India sirf ek Australia series khele wala aur ek England series khele wala. If she does not have a good enough WPL, I don't think she'll be taken over there. And Pradhika Rawal has already done well as the incumbent. So it is important Shefali Verma does well and is in the eyes of the selectors. And I'm expecting her to do well. Because wo jo videos bhi chalte aa rahe, we of course saw what she did at the One Day Trophy, Senior Women's One Day Trophy and the T20 Trophy. Then Marizan Kaap ko bhi matlab aise covers ke upar se, point ke upar se thoda aisa laga ke maar to rahi hai bechari, matlab bechari nahi kahunga, nets mein. So I'm expecting a lot of good things from her, and importantly, I'm expecting her to make a comeback into the Indian setup. That's all we all. That's what we all are wishing for. But that's pretty much it from an opportunities perspective. Again, once again, it is more a reflection of how settled their side is. The fact that we are struggling to come up with new points. ये सारे points हमने last year भी बोला था, हमने first year में भी सोचा था. So the fact that they have such a good 11, such a good squad rather, just speaks volumes about the kind of setup they have at the back end. Then talking about the threads though, Meg Lanning song. I know Neha spoke about the WNCL and all of it. Not had the greatest of seasons this time around at the WBBL. She's not played a lot of cricket since then. The fact that she will be captaining the side, which means she will be expected to lead from the front. She's a gun captain. Tactically, I don't think I've come across a better skipper in women's cricket. But will that be enough? Can she do an MS Dhoni where मतलब बैटिंग वैल्यू के बिना सिर्फ कैप्टेंसी वैल्यू के नाम पे वो मतलब खेल जाए? I don't know. That's something we will have to look forward to. But it still is looking fairly strong. I would still back or trust Meg Lanning to come good. This might arguably be her last time around at the WPL as well, because this season ke baad, in all likelihood, there will be a mega auction as well, because एक नई team आएगी. So when that happens, more often than not, each side is given no more than 5 retentions. Will Meg Lanning be a part of the top 5 retentions for a 3-4 year cycle? Not sure of it. So given that this might be her last cycle and she would want to get that final hurrah, she would want to ensure that she wins a title for her side. So fingers crossed she will be able to do that. And in terms of the threats, of course, there's this one more threat: the inability to succeed in knockout. Something you guys have already been talking about in the comment section. It's a tad bit unfortunate that despite having such a good squad, despite having all of their players playing in unison, gelling well and all of that, they've not been able to win a trophy. That's something that will be hurting them badly. So they would want to focus on that and ensure that they get that trophy home this time around. First 2 seasons, 2 good performances. They've been the losing finalists in both of them. Now it's all about just crossing that final hurdle And do they have the squad? I do agree. I do think they do have that squad. We spoke about how that wicket keeper, value, I mean, batting value from the wicket keeper not coming in was hurting them. Now that they have been able to come up with upgrades for her, hopefully they will be able to do well, do much better, and win the trophy for the Delhi fans, for the management, importantly, because they all are due a trophy at this point in time. So that's that from Delhi SWOT analysis.